What's a relatively unknown technological invention that will have a huge impact on the future? Biochips are now a reality of sorts. Means we can test various drugs and treatments on your genetics without doing it on you. No animal testing. Whole cohorts of test subjects that are chips. Just a biochip. So we can find the cure or treatment for something and know it will work before prescribing it. Smile, it will be a while until it's mainstream and used instead, but it's a reality. Smile. BCI brain-computer interface have been used to control games with your mind, speak to about her person telepathically, and make prosthetic limbs be controlled easier. CBI computer-brain interface have been used to make a blind person regain their sight through camera glasses, and make monkeys feel things in VR that weren't there. If we perfect both of these we could do a lot. Yep, came in here for this one. Once people get over the squirminess, it's truly another level stuff. I'm thinking of the Star Trek pilot with the beings with the crazy big brains that communicated telepathically. That would be us. I'd how to trust a tech company with my brain though, given the amount of bloatware and tracking they do on every other device. I'd go to jail if they could read my thoughts too. Batteries containing nuclear waste in cases in synthetic diamond. Supposedly can go thousands of years without charge and are perfectly safe. Currently being trialed in the UK. Beta voltaics. They're more of energy harvesters than batteries, but being able to last hundreds of years is really cool for some things. They don't put out much power ATM though, so they're pretty niche. My bet is on CRISPR, a genetic technology that enables DNA modification on live organisms, at a very low cost. Sadly, I cannot predict whether the impact will be positive or not. Golden skin sovereign race IRL. Green skin is obviously the only way. Photosynthesis. Any kind of advance in batteries and the ability to store electrical energy. A huge portion of electronic devices are only limited in scope because of how much battery power it would require, and that's a field which has become largely stagnant. There are a few promising things out there but nothing actively in development, but such an advance in technology would unlock the potential of technology that already exists but is currently impractical. Edit, I'm not just talking about smartphones, but any device that runs on a battery. Particularly electric cars. Don't forget making electronics more power efficient, as well. It's a two-lane street. The problem I think stems from PCs being plugged in and most mobile development still being in the mindset of PC developers. They get a more powerful device and instead of building on the efficient code they had to make for the last one, they just build a bloated lazy app for the new one because it can power through the laziness. In other words, if more developers would code like they did for the first smartphones, our fucking batteries would already be lasting all damned day. That's just it. Right now the only room for improvement is making the device use less power and to make charging faster or more convenient. Mitigating the basic problem of limited capacity, but not solving it. It can be both. A higher capacity and efficient practices. Although realistically I imagine higher capacity would reduce the need for efficient use. I'd have to go with fusion power. It definitely exists and is possible, but is still in the research phase and always remains slightly out of reach. But ITER is being built in France, which should be able to produce a 10-fold increase in energy output over input. Additionally, new discoveries are being made all the time in how fusion devices could be miniaturized. Imagine near limitless clean energy and fossil fuels becoming redundant. If everything works out perfectly, we'll have fusion power within 30 years and 1 kilogram of fusion fuel will be about 10 million times more effective than 1 kilogram of fossil fuel, or so I have heard. Wireless SEC machines. As an epileptic I'd be pretty into a wireless EEG too. As an epileptic, I'd love to see more accessible self-driving cars. Specifically, one that can take over and safely park and call 911 if it detects the driver having a seizure or other loss of consciousness. I would think wireless SEEG technology could play a huge part of that. Quantum computers. Light speed travel. Fusion energy, quantum physics, AI, a microwave that heats the food all the way through. You are stretching it with that last one. Long-distance wireless electricity transport. Space solar panels, here we come. See Dyson swarms with maser power transmitters. Technically possible with existing technology, too. You only have to consume like all of Mercury for the resources required. So, what good is Mercury doing us? Mind that bitch. The invention of hypersonic missiles is starting an arms race not seen since the Cold War, and nobody seems to care. I think that's because the same rules of MAD applies. If you use those you get nuked. There's no casual hypersonic missile war the same way there's no casual nuclear war. So it's a solved problem, as much as MAD is a solution. Smile. The problem is hypersonic munitions are first strike munitions. As the time to react becomes smaller and smaller, the retaliatory threat becomes a smaller and smaller threat. That's the concern with weapons of that nature, because they actually diminish MAD considerations when it comes to WMDs rather than allow for a status quo. Solid-state batteries. Maybe. From memory, larger capacity, much faster charging, and significantly longer life. I feel like SpaceX being able to reuse rockets doesn't get enough attention. Costs for getting stuff into space will go down, meaning more possible space stations or even building a megastructure one day. Edit, you guys need to think outside of your Edisphere. I'd wager to say most people have no idea that this achievement has even happened. R/space design is about that. Superconductors that works in room temperature, except that isn't a thing. ATM. Lab-grown meat. Meat has a huge impact on our environment, not to mention that lab-grown meat can be made a bit more healthy for you and ultimately way cheaper. And of course we are all suffering through COVID because someone wanted to eat a live bat. R/Wes the beef is about it. Realistically, the use of carbon grids to reproduce the catalytic effects of rhodium metal, commonly used in catalytic converters. Rhodium metal is currently trading at $13,000/oz. http://www.platinum.matly.com/prices/price tables, after a huge spike due to worldwide emissions restrictions that took effect in 2020. Long story short, there is only two places on Earth to effectively find the stuff, and it is going to run out, well before fossil fuels and other important building materials do. Replacing rhodium with carbon in catalytic purposes would save global manufacturers hundreds of billions a year and make many consumer goods much more affordable. It's a logical step: carbon hood, carbon converter, carbon wheels. The only stopgap is pricing. One day I will be able to walk into a dealership and buy a base model Corolla with a carbon fiber hood. Printed human skin and organs. I think there was a 3D printed track tube not too long ago. Pretty cool. Low pressure solar powered drip irrigation systems. Some more information from MIT. https://gear.mit.edu/drip irrigation. Greater than drip irrigation delivers water through a piping network to drip emitters that release the water directly at the base of the crops, avoiding water losses due to evaporation, runoff, and infiltration. Drip can reduce water consumption by 20 to 60% compared to conventional flood irrigation, and has been shown to increase yields by 20 to 50% for certain crops. Because irrigation accounts for over 70% of freshwater use in most regions of the world, large-scale adoption of drip irrigation would reduce the consumption of freshwater and be an asset for locations around the world experiencing water shortages and groundwater depletion. As a fan of anything efficient, I'm spinning. VR porn and hentai. Carrot, no idea what you're talking about. Car manufacturers started installing this device in your car that will indicate when you plan on turning or changing lanes. It's called a turn signal, but most drivers who know about it refer to it as a blinker. Not many people have picked up on it yet, but when it goes mainstream, it will make driving so much simpler. But, then I'll lose the use of my middle finger. I saw a new solar panel that is like Glad wrap that goes on windows. Clear, thin, film that covers windows and collects solar power. So you don't need to put the large panels on rooftops. So if you think about it, on city skyscrapers there is more surface area on the sides of the building than the roof. Everyone east and west of the building having invisible solar panels. Energy storing smart bricks. https://amp/s/amp.cnn.com/amp/cnn/2020/08/12/world/smart bricks energy storage solution scn/indirects.html that could one day turn the walls of our houses into batteries. That's really cool, especially how it changes the bricks blue. I can see the ad campaign now. Blue brick batteries, what's in your walls? Just because you're not a millionaire, it doesn't mean you can't hide jewels in your house. Wow. I completely misinterpreted jewels and wondering what it has to do with. Actually, never mind, I should just quit while I'm ahead. Did you know that they have developed implants? https://www.asme.org/topics/resources/content/implant grows a child grows, which can grow with you. Meaning that kids with faulty heart valves or damaged organs which require a synthetic element can undergo just one surgery as they're young and never have to have further surgeries for replacement as they grow. My housemate is a chemical engineer and she told me all about it. I thought it was interesting. First and foremost, that sounds amazing. Second, my dumbass definitely thought you were talking about breast implants in the first sentence. Breast implants that can grow with you just made me think of ladies at the retirement home 100 years from now with absolute watermelons on their chests, so thanks for that image. Gene therapy is no longer science fiction. My girlfriend got Lux-Turner surgery and the results have been amazing. She used to be unable to see at all at night and now she can guide herself without a cane. More treatments like that are going to keep coming and be standard before we realize it. 3D printing. We have only scratched the surface. Greater than we have only scratched the surface. You're thinking of laser etching, 3D printing at home. Imagine downloading the blueprints of whatever you need, customize it and have it printed overnight and into your hands. What is now a hobby will soon be a common household tool. Star Trek replicators, here we come. I'm surprised no one has said it yet, but automation is getting incredibly sophisticated. There will be no need for a lot of people to work in factories. I went to an assembly expo and the manufacturing technology of today is mind-blowing. Some jobs you still need humans, but even then, many of those jobs are getting foolproof to the point that previous jobs that required skills will be able to be replaced by cheaper labor with lesser skill. I think it's ultimately a good thing, but who knows how long it will be before society catches up to technology. This is definitely gonna change our society in a profound way in the next decades and will challenge capitalism in a lot of ways. It will not only replace factory jobs but plenty of other jobs. We'll have to think what to do with all the people who won't have a job because machines will be able to do certain jobs better and cheaper than any human ever could. This could be a huge opportunity for society if handled correctly, or could be the biggest problem we have ever faced. I hope sex robots and cloning technology. The fact you put cloning after sex robots is interesting, although if I could get a clone of me as a woman I'd definitely want to get to know her, but that's just me. What name would you give to that fetish? We haven't invented it yet. If you study the last 3 big technological leaps forward, they were all preceded by discovering a new, denser, method of energy storage. Coal and the steam engine lead to the Industrial Revolution. Oil and the combustion engine lead to the modern revolution. Fission and water reactors lead to another energy revolution. We have the technology for cleaner energy via solar and wind. It's not carbon neutral, because you never get the energy out of the thing that goes into making it, but it sure can put a dent in carbon emissions, so it's better than nothing. That being said, the sun isn't always shining and the wind isn't always blowing. What we lack is the capacity to store it at a 99.9% efficiency rate. We need a storage/battery revolution before the next big energy revolution is possible. Maybe they'll figure out a super dense and efficient battery out of graphene or carbon nanotubes. Who knows? Another stopgap would be some sort of thorium or liquid sodium reactor. But we lack the will to fund the research, it hasn't been scaled beyond proof of concept before, and haven't come up with a way to get rid of the waste, yet. Or we could get out of our feelings and realize we split the atom and can have near unlimited power with zero carbon emissions if we just build modern, safe, reactors and storage infrastructure. But Chernobyl lol. Nuclear energy can save the planet but we choose not to. Well, now they are not uncown anymore. I doubt that 1/100% of the world is gonna be reading this post. You lack vision.